In the 1980s, video games were different. There were no ultra-realistic graphics, just you, a black screen, and blocks of green text. Your imagination was the graphics engine. But what if the game didn't just want your imagination? What if it wanted you to find something out in the real world? On obscure internet forums and in the darkest corners of Reddit, there is an urban legend that refuses to die. A tale originally posted around 2011 by a user known only as Ed. He spoke of a text-based MS-DOS game passed around floppy disk swapping circles in the San Francisco Bay Area. The name of the game was Pale Luna. And of the game was Pale Luna Setter, which means the biggest nerd of time. He infamous for being impossible to beat. It crashed constantly and accepted very few commands. You would wake up in a dark room, lit only by moonlight. The game gave you 3 items: gold, a shovel, and a rope. The commands were strictly limited. If you tried anything off script, the game would freeze, forcing you to hard reboot your entire computer. The only reward for any slight progress was an unsettling phrase that would appear on the screen. Pale Luna smiles at you. Most players gave up within minutes, but not Michael Nevins. Michael was a programmer obsessed with breaking codes. He saw Pale Luna's glitches not as programming flaws, but as a test of patience, a sick puzzle. For 5 uninterrupted hours, Michael tested every possible word combination. He mapped out 33 different screens of frustrating trial and error, until suddenly, the game accepted a specific sequence. Dig hole, drop gold, fill hole. The game paused. Michael's computer began to hum loudly, and then the screen wiped completely clean. No cryptic messages, no pale smile. Only 2 numbers appeared flashing in the center of the CRT monitor. Geographical coordinates. Anyone else would have turned off the computer, but Michael wrote the numbers down. He grabbed a map, a compass, and bizarrely, replicated the game's final command. He took a shovel. The coordinates pointed to the internet with the American self, not only just needs in front of the American self. The game looked at Liavn of the Boyce. He was just understand with them. His formated to the country. If the patience in one of the game, across the program wasn't in the growth of one. The coordinates pointed to Lassen Volcanic National Park, just a few miles from his home. The forest was dense, silent. As he walked through the thick woods, he noticed the paths aligned perfectly with the text-based labyrinth he had navigated on his computer hours earlier. After miles of hiking, his compass indicated he had arrived. There was nothing there, except for a small patch of freshly turned dirt, exactly like the game. Michael hesitated. The freezing wind hit his face as he drove the shovel into the earth. Once, twice. On the 3rd strike, the metal tip didn't hit rocks. It hit something hollow. Deep inside the hole, tangled in dirt and roots, there was no gold. There was skull of a little girl. The police were immediately called to the scene. The remains were identified as Karen Paulson, an 11-year-old girl who had been missing for a year and a half. The rest of her body was never found. The investigation became a nightmare for detectives. They tried to track down the game's creator, but the floppy disks had been traded at anonymous tech meetups. There was no IP address, no download history. The killer had used the game as a macabre treasure map for his own crime. He wanted someone to find it. And the most terrifying part of this Reddit confession isn't the body in the woods. It's the epilogue of the original text. The police never found the programmer, but months later, rumors began to surface on San Francisco tech forums. People were talking about mysterious new floppy disks circulating around. Identical games, with different titles. Pale Mary, Pale Sarah. The game of Pale Luna was not an isolated event. It was just the first hole of many. Pale Luna smiles at you. Sweet dreams.